Two dudes with attitudes, let's go. Welcome to the pod every Wednesday, back to represent. Two dudes with attitudes, yeah, here comes the main event. Every week it's the dudes from the east and the west, breaking down everything you've seen and the best of the best. Came together on TikTok, hit it off from the jump, now they never gon' stop. Shooting star, PRS, you can hit the follow. My wrestling opinion is someone you should all know, and they call him MWO. Yeah, it's rich on the flow, and I thought you should know. Two dudes in the mood that be dropping the jewels. This is not for the fools, this is just how we do. Talking WWE, no one is touching the team. Cool, calm, collected to be. You can hit the 5 stars when it's time to rate on whatever platforms. Two dudes, get it straight.
Get it straight, yeah.
What's going on, everybody? Two Dudes with Attitudes of Wrestling podcast is back with our WWE edition. And I'd like to call this week the Let's Turn Heel Week. And for all of you that don't know, if you haven't caught up and we're going to catch you up, this was the week to become the bad guy. The bad guy. We have a lot of bad guy turns. So be prepared for us to give our opinions, takes on why everyone turned heel, maybe what we think about the heel turns, but holy cow, it was like, you're turning heel, you're turning heel, you're turning heel. It was like Oprah handing out
heel turns
to the crowd. Yeah, it was like, you get a heel turn, you get a heel. And some of them were like out of nowhere, some of them were relevant, some of them, but I guess we got to hype up War Games, right?
Yeah, and I really thought there was going to be another one on NXT this week. And
Carmelo, that was the biggest bummer, right? Why not? You already
I know. I was like, you've turned everybody else heel. Why not turn these guys heel? But yeah, that one was a huge letdown. Huge letdown.
It was. Well, let's get into it, right? Let's just go ahead and start this show off right with some Friday night Smackdown. And I'm gonna be honest, I think this week of WWE wrestling, it was like mid all the way across the board. And when I say mid, I don't mean it was like bad. Just wasn't good. Just everything was just like all 3 shows were just average. They all just like did what they wanted to do and didn't really, there was nothing too exciting, but nothing that was like, it was just kind of like it happened. And the first thing that happened on SmackDown, well, this whole SmackDown episode was literally heel turns and LA Knight. That was all this show's purpose was. And I'll go with the first, it was like 3 segments. It was a heel turn, LA Knight, a heel turn. So we'll get into the first heel turn, and that is the Latino World Order. And out comes Carlito, who, member, question mark? I don't ever know if it was confirmed, but I guess he is, because he came out to handle business and accuse Santos Escobar of dropping those knucks on purpose. He got the Snitch of the Week award. I don't know. I guess when you're older, you become a snitch. Carlito, cool, not cool, would never snitch on anybody, but he was snitching. And that led to a Carlito versus Lashley match where obviously Carlito loses. And after the match, Santos Escobar has had enough and he awkwardly beats up Rey Mysterio, then regrets it, but then finishes the job on the steel steps and seems conflicted. And then after the commercial break, they interview him backstage and he says, Rey had it coming. Here's my thing. Everybody, my mom, who I don't even know if is still alive and doesn't watch wrestling, knew Santos Escobar was turning heel. So, I mean, this was no surprise. The thing with me is how and why. Number one, if you were going to, let me just bring up some history really quick. Sorry, Shooting Star Press. Let me just,
you're fine.
Rey Mysterio he's the king of having people turn heel on him. I mean, we can go back to Batista and, I think Randy did. I mean, he's like if you're going to turn heel, you find Rey Mysterio and you clothesline him. Obviously, Santos Escobar didn't get the memo of the clothesline, but you clothesline him when you're going to turn heel. And he just most recently had his son turn heel on him. I think that was the last time someone turned heel on him. And Dominic Mysterio turned heel on his dad after allowing his dad to get the win in a tag team match against the Judgment Day. Then he turned heel on him and turned to the Judgment Day. Santos Escobar has a moment to turn heel by having the brass knucks and hitting Rey Mysterio with them. Instead, he puts him on the apron. Logan Paul hits him. And then the next night turns heel. I don't know what it is with Rey Mysterio. Maybe people just love him so much that they want to turn heel but don't want to cost him wins because they resign. I honestly have no idea what the heck's going on, but why turn him heel the very next day? And then why not turn him heel in a Vish? Like, he was like, well, you pushed me too far, I guess is what it was, because he's getting blamed, and Ray kind of bitch slapped him, and I don't know. But that's why he turned heel. But then he said Ray had it coming. So does he mean because he slapped him or because of I have no idea. I think it was an awkward heel turn. A heel turn that we needed, but awkward nonetheless. And I think it should have happened at Crown Jewel. That's my only. I was just confused by all of it.
So you've watched Star Wars? You're a Star Wars fan? Obviously, yeah.
Have you not seen my tattoos? Yeah, all my Star Wars-y tattoos. Yeah.
So there's this whole thing out there that says that Han Solo shot first, like Han shot first, because he did. He shot first. It's scientific. Yeah. Well, Ray turned heel on SmackDown. Santos didn't. Santos didn't turn heel. Ray shoved Santos first before.
Slap him. I thought he slapped. Did he shove?
He shoved him, and then he kind of like slapped him, like, hey,
yeah,
come on, snap out of it. So so Ray's the one that turned heel on SmackDown. So Ray slapped first. Should be the thing, but we need a thing. Ray did it first. But
we got to get a shirt. Ray slapped first. Yeah.
But Ray, I mean, first. I like the heel turn. I think we needed it. I think it was something that we all saw coming. And especially if Logan Paul isn't going to be on TV on a regular basis with the U.S. title, I think this is a good feud to have with Ray versus Santos. But yeah, the way it was done, it wasn't done well at all. It was a little confusing. It dragged out a little too long. You know, Carlito comes out and he's like, "Hey, we need to talk about," like, he just starts dropping accusations on Santos, and like, we need to talk about your membership. Like, you're not even in this group. Like, why are you even out here?
That's what I was wondering. Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't like this heel turn. I didn't like the way that it was done. I like the fact that Santos is a heel, and I'm curious to see where it goes. I hope it leads to some big things for him, because he's a stud. The man can go in the ring. I want to see him have more of a character. I want to see him on the microphone. I want to see him, I want to see what he can do away from a group. But I think, I think this is a good step in the right direction. It was just awkwardly done. And then Zelina Vega coming out after, and like what did you do? That was weird.
I mean, I was happy with her coming out.
Always.
Not that. Gosh, she's like redonkulously underrated as the hottest. But it also went on for like 45 minutes, right?
Yeah,
this whole thing from the opening until the turn, it was like 45 minutes of LWO.
It was a long time. Yeah,
I didn't know they were that. Yeah, that's special. And I'll get into later how it shouldn't have been so long. But yeah, I agree. Weird, awkward turn and accusations from an old man who isn't part of the group. So,
yeah. So a few weeks ago, I told you about Austin Theory's U.S. Championship reign and how it hasn't been very good. And you kind of disagreed with me at the time. And then you went and thought about it over a little while. And you said that you realized that I was kind of right, that his U.S. Championship reign wasn't very good. I'm starting to do that with you with LA Knight. Like, I've been in the camp that LA Knight should be the one to dethrone Roman Reigns. I've said it multiple times. I've been in the camp that that LA Knight is the fastest rising star in the WWE right now, and the WWE needs to strike while the iron's hot, and that, him dethroning Roman would set him to a whole new stratosphere. But then I watched some of the build to Crown Jewel, and I was a little disappointed. The match at Crown Jewel, I was a little disappointed in. And then his promo after Crown Jewel with Grayson Waller, I was pretty disappointed in. And now I am no longer on the LA Knight should dethrone Roman Reigns bandwagon. I hate it, but I mean, first of all, he keeps calling it the WWE Championship. And I'm like, isn't that like a big no-no in the world of wrestling, that you got to get the titles right? That, if Vince was booking, Vince would probably have him suspended for doing that. Because you can't say the word belt apparently with Vince around. You have to call it a championship, and you can't say rematch. You have to say championship opportunity, like all these little Vinceisms. But calling it the WWE Championship when it is the undisputed Universal Championship, tells me that he's he's phoning it in, or he just doesn't care, or what. But, and then, talking about Grayson Waller not being able to go 50 feet within a school, like, haha, very funny, but like kind of weird too at the same time. Talking about how he's not done with the bloodline, and he will go after. I don't know. The whole promo itself, just even the crowd. The crowd was pretty hot at the opening with the LWO stuff. They were really behind Ray. They were booing Santos. It was a pretty solid crowd. And then LA Knight, I mean, the man who is the most over wrestler in the WWE, even the crowd wasn't really feeling him all that much. And so, yeah, I'm starting to come off the bandwagon a little bit of LA Knight. His match was fine, but the most entertainment I got out of that whole segment was Kevin Owens on commentary using the telestrator, talking about how Grayson Waller and Austin Theory have punchable faces, and it was immediately after that match because they kept staring at him and he kept saying anything because he'll get suspended. That was the most entertaining part, and Kevin Owens wasn't even involved in the match. It was just that's just how I felt. That the whole segment just kind of it was just meh to me.
I agree, and I feel like everything he's been doing has been meh. But I also want to talk about too is something that I think people get twisted, that if I've been harping on LA Knight a lot and this and that, doesn't mean I don't like the guy. Doesn't mean I hate him or don't want him to succeed. I am a very big, strong believer in wrestling. We put a lot of time into this and dedication, amongst other things, with TikToks and note taking and time for not even, really making any money off this thing. And we're trying to build ourselves, and we're doing this with the love of wrestling. I want LA Knight to succeed, but it doesn't mean I have to love every character. Right. And I don't love this character. And I just think this isn't the character he did in Impact. This isn't the like people are saying, like, this is something he's kind of like created off. He wasn't even doing this in NXT. Really. He figured out a punchline and he's been using it. And now he really is just stealing from The Rock more so, and Austin more and more. I mean, he's just like one-liners, same jokes. That joke about not going around like schools, it was so bad that Grayson Waller like laughed. He was kind of like, oh God, like the crowd kind of liked it, but I'm not like, once we're not in the Attitude Era anymore. It's hard to get pushed and big off of juvenile jokes. Like if you want to be like, does Roman do juvenile jokes? Like MJF even now isn't really doing the juvenile joke thing. Like I said, the Acclaimed got big off of it, and they're one of the few that can make it work because of who they are. But if you want to come up with this hard,
over and over,
and I read online that all these people are saying about how this was such a good win because he needed a win after Roman, and I agree, he needed a win after Roman, but Grayson's not that guy. When was the last time Grayson Waller? He just got double punched by Kevin Owens back. It's not like Waller's that, so I don't even think this really did anything for either. I mean, Grayson takes another L. LA Knight beat a guy who only takes L's. That's now Roman's next in line, and Roman's not. Let's get out of that too. He ain't facing Roman again. We're done with that.
Yeah,
we are moving on from that, and we know that there's so many other people in line next up for Roman Reigns. So I just think LA Knight, once again, if he wants to hit it to the next level, which I want him to do, no matter how much I crap on him, I want him to succeed, and I want to like him. I want to have a shirt just like you do with this says on it. I really do. I want to support him, but he needs a secondary title for one. He needs a long secondary title run, 6 months to a year, and he needs to build a character. He needs to be more than just a one-line dude who says stupid jokes and dresses in way overly tight clothes. He needs more than that. And once they do that, then let's see where his future is, and let's see if WrestleMania 41 he can defeat whoever defeats Roman Reigns and wins a title then. But and if you're a true LA Knight fan, you need to not want to root for him right now to dethrone Roman, because it's not his time. Yeah. He needs to get pushed and move on to something else. Rey Mysterio and LA Knight slander to start the show. Patrick, no one slandered Rey Mysterio.
Ray shoved him first. It's scientific. Ray's a heel. Ray turned
100%.
heel. Yeah.
And he was already a deadbeat dad anyway. Look what he did with his poor son Dominic.
And
let's bring up the BMW again. I mean, I am like,
and then let's talk about
on a pay-per-view.
Yeah, and how he cheated to win that match against Dominic, and then we were there for that. And then let's also talk about the fact that Logan Paul was gracious in his victory at Crown Jewel, went over to shake Ray's hand and say that he's a legend, and Ray slapped him away and said, "You know what you did. He's a sore loser." So he's a heel.
Yeah. He is a heel. That's right. That's right. Slander. It's not slander if it's facts, the Patrick.
That's right.
All right. Let's go into my other thing. It's so funny because I said the show was but nothing bad happened, but then my two first things are kind of complaints. I want to bring up a little no-show at this card, and this is where I wanted to get at the fact that LWO, which they needed that segment, could have been 30 minutes instead of 45 minutes, and that 15 minutes could have been dedicated to the one and only, the one, Solo Sikoa. This man literally just got the biggest win in his career, possibly ever. I don't know if he'll get a bigger win than this one. Even if he wins the title, I don't know if he'll get a bigger win than this one. He had a Brock Lesnar, John Cena type moment. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it was a SummerSlam that I attended. And where Brock Lesnar brought him to Suplex City. I think Patrick was with me, actually. Brought him to Suplex City and suplexed John Cena into oblivion and pinned him clean and defended his title. Won this title. I forgot how it was. But Solo basically beat the living snot out of John Cena, spiked him. Samoan spiked him 5,000 times, had his huge moment. And what do we get? That next week on SmackDown, Solo will speak. Now, am I saying that this is going to hurt him? Is this going to derail him? No. But just like I used to say about AEW with MJF, that he would win, defend his title, and then not air next week, and they would give 2 weeks before he spoke. Or you gotta, what is it called? Strike the kettle when it's hot. What is it?
Strike while the iron's hot. Yeah.
Strike while the iron's hot. There you go. He's hot right now. Why not have him come out? Even if it was 5 minutes of him just talking mess, even if it was him just 5 minutes showing his spike and being like with John Cena, like Cena written on it or something. And that's it. Just anything to antagonize the crowd and then speak next week. They did nothing. I thought this was a really, really big missed opportunity for them, especially because there was only 3 segments on this damn show. You couldn't squeeze in a 4th. You couldn't minimize. Maybe Damage Control got a little bit less time at the end. Like, I'm just very, like I'm saying, I'm not going to sit here and say now he's not going to get over, but I don't think this helped him at all get over and push that job. Because 2 weeks from now, that's like 2 weeks and a couple days of us forgetting that he even wrestled John Cena. It's going to seem like an eternity ago by next Friday, especially because next Friday is right before War Games, and I'm assuming a lot of the focus is going to be on that and these 2 heel turns that just happened.
Yeah. And my whole thing with it, too, is you couldn't bring him out at the end of the LA Knight stuff and tease that, hey, you know, I got Cena. I got your boy. I'm coming after you. You know, he doesn't have to speak. He just comes out and, you know, holds the thumb up or something. And then, you know, just we got to do something to ride that momentum. And I feel like his momentum is going to stall completely. So I was watching SmackDown, and there was a good between the LA Knight Grayson Waller match and the main event. There was a solid maybe 15 minutes of nothing going on. Kevin Owens was doing his thing on the telestrator, and then then they did a recap of what happened at Crown Jewel, and then they did a preview of SmackDown where Solo Sikoa was coming back. Then they went to commercial break, and then they came back, and then Austin Theory and Grayson Waller were at ringside, and Kevin Owens says, "I'm gonna go get suspended," and he goes and beats him up. Then they go back to commercial, and then they come and do the main event for the women's match. You couldn't put Solo Sikoa in one of those spots instead.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I didn't care for that. That was John, he's white hot right now, and I don't think it's going to hurt him. But I'm curious. I am curious to see like what happens next. Like he's probably not going to be involved in anything at Survivor Series, so we probably won't see him on a high level event again until the Royal Rumble. What happens at the Rumble? Does he win the Rumble? Does he have a match at the Rumble? Does he get a match at Mania? I don't know, but I just feel like that was a huge missed opportunity, especially on a show where there was a lot of inactivity on the program.
Yeah, I agree. I agree fully.
And let's go into the other heel turn, if you will, with the main event. It was a 6-woman tag. It was Charlotte, Bianca, and Asuka against Kairi Sane, Io Sky, and Bayley. And it was a 6-woman tag, and the main event was fine. And then all of a sudden, Asuka just turns around and spits mist into the face of was it Charlotte Flair? I think she did it too. And then or it was Bianca. She spat the mist into Bianca's face and turns heel, and Damage Control gets the win. And then afterwards, Damage Control and Asuka hug each other. And so Asuka's in Damage Control now, or is this just I don't know. That was I didn't think this was necessary. I didn't think they needed to do this one. I thought the Santos one made sense. This one doesn't make any sense to me. I get that they're trying to keep Io Sky and Kairi Sane and Asuka together in the same little faction thing that they're doing, and Bailey's just now kind of the odd woman out. But yeah, I know what they're doing. They're setting up a women's War Games match, and they're gonna they're probably Charlotte, Bianca, and who was it? Was it Mia Yim that came out, or Shotzi that came out?
No, Shotzi.
Yeah, it was Shotzi that came out. So it's going to be them, and they're going to add another woman, and they're going to have a women's War Games match or a Survivor Series match of some sort. But this just felt, you talk about we kill AEW for randomness. This felt very, very random.
I mean, the Kairi Sane thing felt here's the thing, right? I'm just going to throw it out here now. This heel turn and the next one we talk about on Raw, I'm assuming, and we'll get more into the next one, are just for War Game purposes only.
I hope
not for joining the cruise. Now, with that said, though,
why?
Because here's and I don't want to sound I don't want to sound racist, and I know if you start with that, then you think you're gonna be racist, but I'm not. But this is definitely feeling like an Asian connection, right? Like we got Asuka, Kairi Sane, and Io Sky all now together, and they were all kind of bundled up while Bailey and Dakota Kai were kind of off to the side. I mean, they got in and kind of raised their hands, but it looked like those three girls were kind of like so happy to be together. And I was wondering in the fact that, okay, everyone's talking about how if this is the new damage control, then Bailey's the odd man out. But what about Dakota? Are we just like switching damage control to them three? And now it's going to be like a type of vibe like that in Dakota Kai and Bailey? Or am I just seeing the connections, and maybe I am being that person? I'm trying not, but I mean, I wasn't the only one in the world noticed that. But it's just like, I don't mind these five being together, but I do in the sense that SmackDown has how many girls on their roster wrestling, and now 5 of them are friends together, and they'll probably still lose. Even though they're like 90% of the roster. I mean, is there even 5 other girls that compete? I don't know. So, right? I mean, I just feel like there's too many. And I'm all for women factions, but when you don't have a lot of women in your division, you can't have a woman faction that thick. It's just, I don't know. So,
yeah, and this whole thing. I mean, you hit it on the head. They're probably going to lose, and so then what's the point? And then what happens afterwards? And and who's going to be the? I mean, if they do a War Games match at Survivor Series, or if they even do just a traditional Survivor Series match, who's going to join Shotzi, Charlotte Flair, and Bianca? I can't think of anybody that's left on the SmackDown roster that's not in damage control.
Roz is bigger. Yeah, probably an NXT call up. I'm assuming, maybe something like
Jade
that. But
Cargill.
Yeah, I mean, where I'm going from, and I get right. Oh, yeah, right. But I think the predictions are obviously next week, right? We're going to make predictions. But what I think is going to happen is that I think everyone's talking about how this is like the new and improved damage control, and now we have 5 members. I don't think so. I think this is a War Games match. I think Bailey takes the pin, loses, and that's the end of damage control. I think this is the end of damage control, not damage control growing. I think this is donezo, and then Bailey will probably turn babyface. Dakota Kai will maybe go back to NXT after her injury, and then maybe the 3 will stick together and form a little crew. But I don't see. I mean, Asuka's better as a heel anyway. I hate happy-go-lucky. I'm Asuka. Like that Asuka's awful. Yeah. No, I kick ass Asuka because Asuka kicked undefeated Asuka in NXT. That's the Asuka I want. Even Asuka before NXT, but I want that Asuka. That's the Asuka I want. So,
and I will say, Kairi Sane, she's good. That little flying elbow drop that she does off of the top rope, she hits that with perfection. I'm like, that's an amazing. Like she's so good at that. So
I completely forgot she was the pirate girl from NXT.
Yeah,
I forgot. I'm slowly realizing she's been gone I'm old, man. She's been gone for so long.
She got released,
I forgot that I forgot that that's her. She's the pirate. She was the champion. And I like slowly in the past couple of weeks have finally like got it together. I was like, oh my gosh, that's who she is. Now I like remember it all.
And her and Io were together.
Yeah, they were a tag team. Yeah. I was like, oh my goodness. But anyway, nonetheless, because they showed that highlight and has the best elbow drop since the Macho Man.
Yeah,
take that, Max Caster. But yeah, she does have a good one. She gets high up there. All right, let's get into some Monday Night Raw because baby,
done my
I
things
like
today.
it raw. Oh baby, I like it raw.
There we go.
Speaking of, that's true of all. Speaking of, like I was gonna say, because you said Han shot first. I mean, I watched that when I was a kid, and I have forever lived my life motto for shooting first ever since then. So, are you ready for? Let's start with some Monday Night Raw. I was waiting for that one. Let's get into, you know what? I'm going to start off with I'm going to start with the non-heel turn this time. We've been doing a lot of heel turns right now. I want to go into something that I truly, truly liked. If you have listened to my TikToks or this podcast, you will know that I am a lover of stories. I love stories. I love when we build stories. And I love when wrestling stays real. Not like what they're doing with Dirty Dom right now, where he is a proud member of Judgment Day on Raw and SmackDown, and then he goes to NXT and he's hanging out with Baron Corbin. He's just like a complete different character on that show. I like when we keep the realism, and that was not any more brighter than Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins backstage. Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins had a feud. Holy guacamole. Is it like a year
2021
now?
Yeah,
I'm 2 years. It's been so long now. It's right when Cody got here. It's when he tore his pec. It's before his Mania moment.
22.
Yeah. It was so long ago, and they are both baby faces now. And this was like out of nowhere, but I loved it. They're backstage. Cody goes up to Seth. Seth's with Cody, and they basically bring up that they both hate each other. They haven't forgotten. They have no love towards each other. They have animosity, and I loved it. Two baby faces keeping it real, talking about the past. We're not just forgetting it because they're both baby faces now, so everything they did that was bad before is no longer relevant. I love that they kept it and then just said, but as baby faces, they do have a different personality, so they respect each other. We can do this with each other and win this War Games. I loved it. I think it was great for maybe finishing the story will be Seth Rollins. Maybe we can get away from Cody Rhodes, which I might talk about in something later on. But maybe Cody Rhodes is going to go finish the story and beat Seth Rollins. You know what I mean? There's a little hint there. Maybe that's not it. I mean, they had a moment and injured him and did this and that. But also just the fact that I just like when wrestling stays real and we don't try to forget about things. And that feud is one of the best. It is my favorite feud of the year, followed by my favorite match of that year when we did our year-end votes, him in the Hell in the Cell. So, I mean, it's like, that was just awesome stuff. I wanted to just give props to Triple H because I know that's a Triple H thing. Vince McMahon was the one who had memory loss all the time when it came to storyline. So I'm glad that we have forgotten that and moved past it. So props to them for bringing that up and keeping it alive and well. And maybe, like I said, maybe it leads to something.
Yeah. And I like when they do that stuff too. This whole like, oh, we got a team with Jey Uso. Like I even like the Drew McIntyre piece where Drew's a little hesitant of Jey being on the Raw roster because of everything that that the Bloodline did to him and how everyone's willing
but not
to
Jey, just the Bloodline.
Yeah, just the Bloodline. But I kind of like how I don't like that because the Usos weren't there for the reason. They're not the reason Drew lost the title, but. I do like that they're keeping that. They're just because he's a babyface now doesn't mean we forget it. So I do like that side of it. The only thing I don't like, and like the opening segment of Raw was all 5 members of team, or all 4 members rather of Team Raw or Team Cody came out, and I don't like that the WWE is treating Cody like he's the leader of the Survivor Series team, and I tolerate Cody. I'm not the biggest Cody supporter. But Seth Rollins is the champion of your brand. He is the face of your brand. He is he should be treated like the most important person on that brand. And I don't even think he's not the second most important person on that team. It's Jey. He's not the third most important person on that team. It's Sami Zayn. He's not even the most important person on his own team at Survivor Series. And I hate that for the guy because he is the champion of that brand. And so that's my only thing. I don't like that Cody Rhodes is the one that came out and cut the promo. And then, he's the one telling the Judgment Day, you guys came out here without mommy. And then, Seth Rollins has a little line when he comes out and he's like, oh, you're too kind, DC. And then they go back to Cody trash talking the Judgment Day. And I don't know. I like Seth Rollins. I want to see a more vicious side of Seth Rollins, but I also want to feel he doesn't feel important right now, and that's my one gripe about this whole Survivor Series stuff. But I am excited about them teaming up, and I like that segment.
Yeah, I've been saying it for months now. Cody is turning into John Cena. It is what it is, y'all. Embrace it. It's just that's what he's kissing, holding hands, kissing babies. He's the face no matter what. He literally has no storyline, no build. I don't know what the hell they're doing with him after this, and it's over. Hopefully, what are we doing with him? Where is he going?
Yeah.
Where does he go next? The Royal Rumble, push for Mania? I mean, I don't know. It's just, yeah, Cody is Cody, and it's so sad too because every time he comes out, I mean, I just picture him taking the sledgehammer and hitting that chair to open up Dynamite and to basically and starting AEW as a company as the anti-hero of WWE and shoving it in Triple H's face. And even when he signed with WWE, that entrance he made, and he was still that Cody Rhodes, to what they made him now is just bizarre to me that he agreed to it to begin with. But what can you do? Supposedly his merch is still -- and he's still loved by fans. I mean, like Cena,
the
man.
fans are eating him alive.
The kids. It's the kids who eat him alive. The kids who love it. That's who's buying his shirts. It ain't adults. How many adults you see in Cody Rhodes shirts? It's the kids. He's John Cena. So
yeah, that's
what can
true.
you do?
That's true. I just feel like they got to treat Seth Rollins a little bit better. If they're going to give him that championship for as long as they are, and he's going to have a lengthy run, he should be the leader of Survivor Series, not Cody Rhodes. He's the champion. You know,
100%.
Roman Reigns, that would be like Roman Reigns playing third fiddle on the Smackdown Survivor Series team. It's behind Solo Sikoa or somebody like that. Like,
yeah.
So they got to treat their champion better.
I agree. And
then we'll go into another heel turn, but it's not the one that you probably think I'm going to talk about because I am really confused as to what they're doing with The Miz. Because The Miz, he turned babyface apparently when he had his Miz TV segment a few weeks ago now with Gunther on it, and he basically talked about how he's the greatest IC champion of all time. I think he's an 8-time Intercontinental champion, and Gunther's the longest reigning IC champion. He attacked Gunther, and then they solidified his babyface turn with whatever the heck they did at Crown Jewel. They had that whole segment with some Saudi Arabian, I guess, comedian or actor, or I don't know who that person was, and then they did the Grayson Waller effect, and they had him take out Grayson Waller. So I'm like, okay, so you have the talk show heel and the talk show baby face. Now they're baby faces. Then this Monday on Raw, well, then last week on Raw, we had the Ricochet botch where Ricochet kicked out and Ivar and The Miz had the pin, but The Miz technically won. And then this week on Raw, The Miz had a match, and he's win. Like the match was good, and then he uses the ropes. He holds on to the ropes to win. He uses the ropes as leverage, and he gets the pinfall victory. Which that's a heel tactic. So is he back to being a heel? Is he? What are they like? I don't understand what they're doing with The Miz. I'm all in on The Miz versus Gunther. I have no doubt that that's going to be a great match. But is this like a temporary babyface turn because the Gunther's such a big heel that they need Miz to be face, but he's really a heel? What are they doing? Because when he won that match holding the ropes, I was just like, I was flabbergasted. I was just like, that's not how a babyface wins matches.
But it's been happening, right? He's not the first babyface to have to cheat to win, and I think that's becoming more and more relevant with AEW and WWE, where it's okay for a babyface to not be a babyface. That my thing that I was confused on that as well, and he was kind of giving out heel vibes too in his promo and the way he's speaking. But the one thing I think that I was more caught off guard was the fact that he had to cheat to beat Ivar.
Yeah,
like that's the hype we need before you face Gunther. That was like when Chad Gable could barely beat Kaiser or whatever before he I'm like, you can't have a weak win before you face the greatest champion in WWE right now. It just doesn't bode well. It doesn't give me like a, you know what I mean? It doesn't give me hype for like, this is gonna win. He barely could beat a tag team partner who hasn't beaten anybody. It was just very, very weird all around booking wise. But with that said, my next part might add into it. So we had a little moment with the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion of the world, Mr. Gunther, where his two cronies had a tag team match against DIY, the tag team that the WWE should be promoting like crazy.
But they
And
hate
instead,
'em
they
for
are now
whatever
the
reason.
jobbers of the tag team division. And Vinci Code helped Kaiser get the cheap roll-up win to get the victory. And Kaiser is bragging in his perfection of a body, no shirt on, taunting the world, strutting it up, and telling Gunther's praising nobody, and Kaiser's taking all the praise, and it goes right towards Vinci. And he says, without you, that match, you wouldn't have won. And then he mad dogs the bananas out of Kaiser. And I said this a little while ago on our podcast. I'm going to say it again. Gunther versus Kaiser is loading. And this is the beginning of that feud and the breakup of Imperium. Whether or not Vinny stays with Gunther or Gunther goes solo, it's Gunther versus Kaiser no matter what. And it's coming soon, whether it be Mania, Rumble, whatever one you want to pick for Gunther. Here's my thing for you, okay? With The Miz having to cheat to win, trying to figure out if he's a babyface or a heel, do we have the Kaiser turn happening? Remember, Kaiser was getting random promo videos too, like a month ago, hyping him. I'm telling you, this has all been a build. I'm telling you, this has been a slow build. Is Kaiser going to turn on Gunther at at Survivor Series and cost Gunther the match against The Miz? I'm assuming it's at Survivor Series, correct? Or is Kaiser going to be the one to dethrone Gunther and win the IC title? Where are we going? Because it's Kaiser Gunther, the end. I don't care what anybody says. Let's just sign that up. Which is happening? Do we do this slow win because then the Miz is going to cheat and beat Gunther and become adding on to his longest title reigns as champ, or what? What are you seeing here? Is that going to be it? Or
as much as I want to see the Miz have championship gold, I think you've got to build a new star, and I think the way to do that is to have Kaiser versus Gunther for the IC title, maybe at Rumble, maybe at Mania, and have him be the one to take the belt off of Gunther. I still think it should be Chad Gable, but if this is the direction that they're going in, I think this is the right call. You got to build a new star. You could turn him babyface. You could turn Gunther babyface, or you could turn Kaiser babyface, depending on whichever way you want to go. And where does Giovanni Vici fit into all this? Whose side is he on? Is he on his partner's side, or is he on Gunther's side? So yeah, I think there's an interesting story that you can tell between, I would say, maybe Royal Rumble. Do it at the Rumble and see what happens. But yeah, I'm all in. I think Kaiser Gunther should definitely happen, and it should be for the IC title.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Over the Miz winning it.
I agree. And I think Kaiser will be the babyface. I think he can work as a babyface. He has the vibe. He'll get the love from the fans as Gunther torments him and puts it to him. But that's the number. Build IC champions, man. That's how you do it, man. You build that sidekick person. That's what the IC title's for. And that's what they should have done with LA Knight. You start with the secondary title before you become a star.
Work your way up. And then let Gunther go on and main event Mania against Roman, or do something maybe with Brock or Cody or something at Mania. Have a big match. So yeah, he deserves it. And Kaiser, I think Kaiser could be a great IC champion for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
So let's get into the real heel turn of the night. The
Damian Priest? Oh.
No, but even though he technically said he was the leader of the Judgment Day, which
I know you'll get into it. Go ahead.
But we start off the night with the Judgment Day and Team Cody doing trading their barbs back and forth. And I thought the Judgment Day had some good thingers, talking about how Cody Seth is in the ring with the one guy that he can never beat, which is Cody. But then Cody's in the ring with Cody says he's all that in a bag of potato chips, but he can never win a title. They all had some great lines. It was good stuff.
They did.
And then, of course, Cody was like, well, I know you are, but what am I? You guys found your way down here without mommy, and she's your leader. And then that led to Damian Priest saying that he's the leader. And that he got some side eyes from Dirty Dom. He got a side eye, big time side eye from Finn Balor, and even JD McDonough looked a little confused as to why they said it. And then later on in the night, they inducted JD McDonough officially into the Judgment Day, so he is a full-fledged member of the Judgment Day. He's no longer the tag along or whatever he was before. He's now in the Judgment Day. We saw a moment with Seth Rollins backstage with Drew McIntyre, and they shook hands, and Seth Rollins said, anytime you want a rematch, it's yours. And Drew McIntyre said that, you know, he's proud of the he was Seth Rollins is a champion that we all deserve, and he holds that title with great honor, and he walked away. And then the end of the night, we had Judgment Day versus Finn Balor and Damian Priest versus Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso for the tag team championships. And this was a great match. It was a banger. It was fun. It was entertaining. I like Jey Uso's. Yeah, I like Jey Uso's new shirt too that says "Yeet." I might have to maybe my next purchase. But the match was great. And then all of a sudden, and Adam Pearce banned like Rhea Ripley. He banned JD McDonough. He banned Dirty Dom, all from ringside. And not only that, but he barred everyone from the arena too, so they couldn't even come out.
Yeah.
But which is weird about how it ended. But anyway, out comes Drew McIntyre out of nowhere when Jey Uso's at ringside, and Drew McIntyre drops Jey Uso with the Claymore kick, and then he throws him back into the ring, and they get the pinfall victory, the Judgment Day, on Jey Uso, and then Drew McIntyre is walking up the ramp, and out comes Rhea Ripley, and looking good. Looking like a bombshell that she is, looking like the leader that she is. She comes out, extends her hand, and Drew McIntyre shakes it. And now it looks like he is the fifth man for the Judgment Day at War Games. The sixth man.
At War Games. No,
right, yeah.
Sixth
man of Judgment Day.
Yeah.
But the fifth man in the event at War Games. And so now Has Drew McIntyre joined the Judgment Day? Is he only helping out temporarily? What are we doing here? Because I like the heel turn. I think we all wanted Drew to turn heel eventually, but I don't know if I don't know if I want him doing this. I don't know. I'm worried about Dirty Dom and Rhea breaking up now. I'm worried about because his initials are DM, and she puts RR and DM on her face. He put something on social media saying daddy's home, and she's been saying that she's mommy, and like, are they the new power couple? That's what I'm reading online, that they're going to treat them like the new power couple. So what does this mean I don't know. Like, is this really, you couldn't just have him attack Seth Rollins. You couldn't just have him attack Jey Uso and walk away, turn heel. Like, I don't know. Is he helping out the Judgment Day? Is he joining the Judgment Day?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
This is going so many ways, right? Obviously. Yeah. So we can go. Let's also add in that JD McDonough was officially put into the Judgment Day by Damian Priest himself. Yeah. He gave him a duffel bag. I guess that's all it takes. I guess the duffel bag comes with the duffel bag comes with a membership card.
It's like, what's this? It's your membership.
Yeah. I thought it was weird. He gave him I didn't know you needed a leather jacket either, but. So JD's in, which I'm happy. I'm finally excited. Get him a belt already. But he, I've seen the internet. Here's one thing, right? You know me. I don't listen to nothing on the internet. That includes fans' opinions, media, journalists. I would love to be a journalist one day in wrestling, but what I'm saying is I don't believe any of them. I don't believe nothing that's said. I'm not taking any of it. Him putting daddy, that's just like, I think it's just him fueling. I think wrestlers know the internet people feed into things and will dive into things, and I think it's always a ruse just to throw people off. They try to like pause a moment where Rhea's like looking up at him, like WWE posted at it. It's just so we were just there. Remember when Yeet came out and was like, "Hey, mommy, I like you," and everyone's like, "Oh, Jey Uso and mommy are together now," like blah blah blah. It's always like that's not what's going on. I don't even think he's a member of Judgment Day. Here's the thing, right? Here's what's going to happen. He's either just in the War Games, and like I said, he'll either turn and cost them the match, or it's going to start his feud with somebody else, right? Or maybe Cody or whatever. B, he's in Judgment Day, and if he's in Judgment Day, then Damian Priest is out. And that's the whole reason why Damian Priest said he was the leader. Nobody really liked that, responded to that well. Or Rhea and I don't know. Damian's out because, the whole Rhea is the leader and that's what's going to happen because you can't have two muscle, right? You can only have one muscle.
Yeah.
You can't have Drew and Damian. So I'm assuming that if Drew's in, Damian's going to be out. Rhea's making the choices and all the decisions here. It didn't look like Judgment Day wasn't there. Remember when Pierce banned everybody, he said all the competitors in the war games. That did not include Rhea Ripley. She's not in the war game. That's why she was able to walk out. And make that decision. Obviously, I'm excited to where the story's going. But I don't think it's the end of her and Dirty Dom. I don't see that. I don't think this is like a boyfriend girlfriend thing. I think this is just Rhea's been doing this with every guy. She was flirting with Jay. She was flirting with Jim. Like I said, the internet is stupid. They all just like, oh my gosh, they're obviously together. Daddy, mommy, staring at each other. No, they're not. It's just. But I'm curious on if he's in or out. But if he's in, Damian's out. If he's just in the war games, and hopefully they continue on. But I am tired of the hints at Judgment Day breaking up every freaking week.
That's the stuff.
I'm the leader of Judgment Day. Oh, just kidding. Okay, high fives. Let's go wrestle again. They just they're not even like continuing the drama. It's just like he says something stupid, and it's always Damian, and then we just move on from it. So where are we going with this? And that's the only thing that I'm getting. Just let Judgment Day do their damn thing. They're the best freaking faction in all of wrestling. Let them do their damn thing.
Yeah.
Stop having them bicker all the time for no freaking reason. I'm bored of it. So
yeah, I agree completely.
I mean,
I'm all in on a Drew McIntyre heel turn. I just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think if he's joining the Judgment Day, I don't think he fits. He doesn't fit with that. Like, he doesn't fit the mold.
Nope.
And then what do you do with the tag titles if Damian's out? Does Finn leave too? Does Finn stay? Do they take the belts off and relinquish them? Do they? I don't know. There's so many questions. Yeah.
I think it's just war games, but
I hope so.
It is what it is. But that fuels the internet. Here comes Randy Orton. Woo! Oh yeah. All right, let's get into some NXT. You ready? All right, NXT, another average show, right? They did their things that they needed to do. I wanted to talk about, though, the entire opening of NXT. We had some random opens to all these shows. And Andrew Chase, has been getting some weird stuff lately. But this story is kind of going all over the place. So he is technically the dean of Chase University. Chase University, ladies and gentlemen, is technically supposed to be a real university, a school. They've even had scenes where they've had like cats and they chose Chase University and put it on. They've done all sorts of funny things. They have a gigantic classroom backstage and a bathroom that they always film in. They have a whole bunch of fun stuff. And they lost their titles to Tony D and his homeboy. But it seemed like Tony D and his homeboy had intel on them, but it seemed like it was related to them. And that's what it felt like we were getting at. Then all of a sudden it was like, we opened up with a newspaper like it's 1972 all over again. And it was like, this breaking in, like Andrew Chase is being investigated for blah, blah, blah. And Chase University might get shut down and yada, yada, yada. And I don't want to answer any questions. And it was like a very weird, where are we going with this now? It came out of nowhere, I felt. And they had their match and they dropped the tag team titles. Chase U has literally been around since the beginning of NXT, especially NXT 2.0. They are super loved by the fans. There's always, I know it's like a paid crowd or whatever for Chase U, but every week, whether we're on TV or not, there was Chase U shirts in the crowd. People love these guys. They finally get their gold, and you just take it away from them 3 weeks later. It was a really weird booking just to give it back to Tony D and them. And now, JC Jane was throwing him in the car to drive away, and I thought she was anti. I just don't know what's happening. I'm very, very confused, but this payoff better be really good if you're going to have them win a title and lose it 3 weeks later. Chase U's the beloved child of NXT. I feel like if they break him up or something happens, or I feel like the fans aren't going to dig it much. I mean, I feel like you can't watch NXT without Chase U segment once a week. I don't know what the hell we're doing. I'm very confused on what the hell is happening. There's a scandal now.
They're being investigated. Like Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan football team. they're being investigated. They're interviewing,
Mm.
people, and they have no comment. They're doing press conferences. Yeah, it was all for them to lose the tag titles. Which, what was the? I got to see the payoff before I complain about it, because I want to know what the point of it was. Why have them win it just to make them lose it? I've never understood why the WWE does that. They will put the belt on somebody for a week and then have them drop it the very next week. See Trick Williams just a few weeks ago when he beat Dirty Dom for the North American Championship, and they haven't even gone back to that at all. It was just like, we shouldn't have taken it off of you. I don't know what they're doing. I don't understand why they do it, but I want to see the payoff. And then
I agree.
We didn't get a Carmelo Hayes heel turn, which in a week of heel turns, I feel like that was another missed opportunity. We could have gotten one, but instead we got a bunch of random stuff. Baron Corbin's apparently cool with Dominic Mysterio, so he had a conversation backstage with Dirty Dom, which
I love that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And then he had a conversation with Lexus King of all people, talking about how cool it was that he took out Trick Williams last week, and is he the one that attacked Trick backstage? And it was that was random. And then he had an amazing match with Wesley in the main event, and I like what they're doing with Baron Corbin. What I don't like is that he's not beating Ilya Dragunov for the title at NXT Deadline. So I understand we're building him back up to be this amazing athlete and this amazing star, and he deserves it. But I don't think he's beating Dragunov. So it's almost kind of like, I don't know. It's almost a little deflating for me. Yeah. What's the point of building him just to have him not win? And I get it's a big win for Dragunov, and it's another person Baron Corbin can put over, and I understand that and I respect that. But at the same time, it's too soon for Dragunov to lose that title, and I think Baron Corbin should have a long, lengthy run with the NXT Championship. The man deserves it. The man is he's great at everything that he does.
Everything.
And it's just disappointing to see that he's probably going to do all this just to lose, and then he may never get the NXT Championship. It's like his main roster career all over again.
Right. I mean, I love physiques, and I got to talk about it. He's starting to look good every week. He's getting slimmer, more muscular. He's getting rid of that little bit of a baby flab he had. He's looking more fit, more athletic. I mean, he's just his head is like balder than normal. He just looks good, man. He's like doing his damn thing. And I liked having him backstage out constantly. There was there a few because he had one with Wesley? I don't know. He had a whole bunch.
He did something with Wesley. He did something with Dirty Dom.
He had Dirty Dom, and I like Dirty Dom come out and helping him. It continued the Dirty Dom Wesley feud. It gave Baron Corbin a much deserved win. I'm not a fan of Dragunov. I like him. I think Dragunov is fire. I dig what he does. I think he's super talented, but I did not want him to be champ. I don't think he was ready to be that guy. And I don't like Dragunov's suit either. Why is he dressed like the Miz every week? Like, he's supposed to be this badass, like whatever country he's from, like this badass dude who's coming to wreck shop, and every week he's dressed in a suit and like he's about to go to a Zoom meeting. Like, I don't think that fits. I'm not digging him as champ, so I'm all for Baron getting the win. Let's get there in the win and move on. And but I'm all for it, and I like what they're doing with Baron. And either way, whether he wins or not, if you don't want to do the Manny Rose treatment and give him a long title reign to rejuvenate his career, this is still rejuvenating his career nonetheless. So I'm all for him and going back to the main roster afterwards. So, all right, man. That was the week of WWE. Good stuff. Exciting stuff. And now we're going to go into our segment. And this is a fun segment. One of my most fun segments. This is Unpopular Opinions. So this is where we give our take of something we like or want to happen that probably the mass majority of people do not want to happen. As always, we start off with Sami Zayn's twin brother, Shooting Star Press. Let's hear it.
I'm glad you said that, because my unpopular opinion has to do with the War Games match. And you alluded to it earlier with the internet getting a chub for what's happening with Drew McIntyre joining the Judgment Day. My unpopular opinion is that I don't think Randy Orton should be involved in the War Games match at Survivor Series. I know everybody's saying that, Randy Orton is the fifth member for Team Cody, and apparently Team Cody or Cody Rhodes cut a promo after Raw went off the air and said that, they think they got the odds stacked against us. Well, we have friends too. And apparently that he was alluding to one Randall Keith Orton, who is on the sidelines. And I don't think Randy Orton needs to. I want to see Randy Orton back, the world of
Mm-hmm.
wrestling is better with Randy Orton in it. WWE is better with Randy Orton in it. And with John Cena going away now, this is the perfect time, I feel like, to bring somebody like that back, but not in War Games. It makes no sense to the story. He has not been feuding with the Judgment Day for the last 8 months. And that's all I keep hearing everybody say, is that this is the culmination of this feud with the Judgment Day over and over and over on Monday Night Raw. This is the perfect culmination for that, to end the story and end it for good. But let's randomly add RKO to this match, who hasn't. And plus, first of all, if you do that, you're basically telegraphing the outcome of Survivor Series. You're going to bring Randy Orton back just to have his team lose? I don't think so. You're going to, and then not only that, but this man's had multiple back surgeries over the last year or two. He's been gone a long time. War Games is a vicious match for a match of that caliber for your first match back.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's probably safer now than it ever has been before, but it's still a pretty brutal match for somebody to come back to. And it doesn't make sense story-wise, but also look at the story. The last time we saw Randy Orton, he was feuding with the Bloodline. And the reason why he's storyline injured is because of the Bloodline. Now, all of a sudden, I'm supposed to believe that he wants to team with Jey Uso against these pesky rascals of the Judgment Day. No, I can't get into it. I think Kevin Owens makes more sense than Randy Orton because he's been involved in I know he's on a different brand, but he's been involved with the Judgment Day. Wes Lee from the NXT would make perfect sense because he's got a match at NXT Deadline with Dirty Dom, so you can, and that's after Survivor Series, so you can continue teasing that during their showdown at War Games, and you can call him up. He just lost to Baron Corbin on NXT, so boom, bring him over. Go get Edge from he's not on AEW on Dynamite this week. Go get Edge. He makes more sense than Randy Orton does. I just I don't want to see Randy Orton in the War Games match. It doesn't make any sense for me.
I don't think Randy's coming. I agree with it. Once again, we have the same one. It's not going to be Randy Orton. It's not going to be CM Punk. So get that.
And I would say the same thing if it was CM Punk. CM Punk doesn't make any sense for this either.
And especially because you just had Drew join. So obviously Drew's going to. Why have Drew join to have him lose? What the hell's the point? That makes zero sense. And I don't know. I agree with you. I also have to give shout outs to Patrick in the comments for saying we already got this segment at the top of the show because we were slandering Rey Mysterio at LA Knight. That's a pretty funny callback. But I have to
long-term storytelling.
Long-term story. But yeah, I agree with you. And we always agree on unpopular opinions. But yeah, that's something I have to agree with you. It can't be Randy. There's no point. Let's go into mine. I
just have a feeling it's going to be, but it doesn't make any sense.
I don't think so. Royal Rumble's a better return. All right. You ready?
Yeah.
Mine, Drew McIntyre going to AEW is a better decision for him than joining the Judgment Day.
Oh.
And that's my unpopular opinion. And I know AEW does not do well with WWE guys, but the rumor has it is that Drew's contract is up. He wants to get out. He's pretty much, blah, blah, blah. I don't think any of that's true. But if they're just having him join the Judgment Day just to try to rejuvenate him or give him a good heel turn, I think it would be better for him to go to AEW and just start a whole new character. Keep his damn sword at home. The sword is I've been saying this for 2 years now. The sword is the dumbest thing in the history of the world. I don't know why he ever brought it out. It's ridiculous. But I truly feel like him going to AEW would be better for Drew McIntyre than him joining the Judgment Day. And that's coming from Judgment Day's #1 fan and a WWE lover. I mean, I love AEW too, but I just think Drew could do more over there and help them a lot more, especially with MJF coming to WWE in a few months. I think it'll be better for them than him joining the Judgment Day because I think he doesn't fit into the Judgment Day. So,
yeah, that's my only
popular opinion.
Is he going to get a bunch of tattoos now and a mohawk? What's he? Is he going to go dark? Is he going to get a Dirty Dom mullet? He doesn't fit with the Judgment Day at all. And I actually think he'd be great in AEW. I think he's the kind of guy, Tony Khan's salivating at the fact that his contract's up and he's trying to get him over there. And he did great when he got fired from the WWE the first time and he went over to Impact and he was Drew Galloway and he reinvented himself and made himself popular. And then he went back to NXT and he did what he was doing in Impact Wrestling and NXT. That's the Drew McIntyre I want to see in AEW, and I don't feel like we're getting that in WWE right now, and I don't think we're getting it in if he joins the Judgment Day, especially. So yeah,
I agree.
That's a pretty unpopular one, but I think I am in the. I think we always agree on these.
Yeah. That's what's great about our podcast, right? We're not two dudes to fight the whole time. We're two dudes to get along, and we do have attitudes, just not towards each other.
That's right.
But
that's right.
I'm gonna have to cut. I'm sorry, we have a time constraint today from me, so we probably both have a lot more unpopular opinions. So I'm gonna throw it out there, Shooting Star. Let's add a bunch. We'll continue this in a few, and we'll add them to our TikTok, so you can watch the rest of our unpopular opinions.
There you go.
By tuning into our TikTok, Two Dudes with Attitudes channel, where we can record the rest and add them there to
Look at
you.
that. Yeah.
You like that, huh? So if you want some more, tune in and we'll do the rest of our unpopular opinions so you can tune in on TikTok. With that said, tomorrow we got our AEW edition. It's going to be a fun one. I will be attending Full Gear, so I can have a live thing on that. We're excited. The build up. We got Rampage. We got Collision and
Friday Night War, baby. That's right.
The Friday Night War. I'm sure we're going to talk about that tomorrow. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about tomorrow. So tune in. Same bat time, same bat channel. As always, I'm the dude of Wrestle Talk, Mr. MWO, and with me as always is
Shooting Star Press. Go follow us on all of our socials. We're on TikTok, like he said, at Two Dudes with Attitudes. Go follow us over there. We're got a lot of followers so far. We're over 100 now, so we just need to keep. We're going to keep churning out content, and then go subscribe on YouTube and Spotify, Apple, Google, anywhere you get your podcasts, and rate us and review us as well.
Yes, sir. Keep it going. Let's go. Two Dudes Wolfpack. We out.
Two dudes with attitudes, let's go. Welcome to the pod every Wednesday, back to represent. Two dudes with attitudes, yeah, here comes the main event. Every week it's the dudes from the east and